process? You switch in everything. How's that coming along? Numbers aren't, I'm sure, where you want them to be.
You know what? It was the same ranking that we had last year at this time. Maybe we were 1 or 2 off, and we moved up the food chain as the season progressed. And I think that as you're feeling like the newness of Jimmy with some of the rules that we're trying to put in, you know, the fact that Wilson didn't have a training camp, he sat and listened but didn't really play, integrating, you know, Mike Muscala into this and Landry Shamet, and we're now playing Furkan Korkmaz. You don't just sort of click your heels and start where you ended. And there is a natural growth, and a growth that we've seen over the years that I believe will be coming this year too. And so it's all about how do you form a defense that has the capability to defend in May and June. How do you have a defense? Because you need a little bit more than vanilla. And, you know, we see the league is 5 out. You know, there's no post players. How do you guard that? We see the volume of threes being shot. How do you guard that? And so, you know, there's an element of learning, and it's a, you know, an element of thinking, and that takes time. And so that's a long-winded answer to tell you that this is not any different than we experienced last year, and we saw it move forward as the season unfolded.
Before the draft, when you worked Landry out, did you get a sense that he could be a guy who could be in the rotation
No,
this year?
not like he did. I felt like he could play basketball, but to think he was just going to come out of college and jump into one of the best teams in the East and, you know, claim minutes in a rotation, no. And it's like anything we talk about often is the opportunity that he seized for multiple, you know, Jared Bayless injury, you know, Zaire injury, all that stuff. That vacuum that kind of left when Marco Bellinelli left. Well, you're always searching, well, who can, you know, be sort of, you know, behind JJ, if you will. And he has really surprised me guarding NBA defense, understanding schemes. He's surprised me with his sort of swagger and belief to make shots. And he'll have ups and downs. One of the things that I'm really most mindful of is there's always rookie walls. You know, he's played more basketball than he's probably ever played in his life, and it's November, you know, whatever it is, late November. And monitoring his body and his fitness and, you know, his minutes is a part of what I'm aware of.
Where would you guys be without his opportunity, his ability to knock down shots?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. It's just like he's come in and really claimed a stake in his importance and his role in this team, and by and large he's delivered, and certainly from my vision line exceeded expectations.
Speaking of the expectations, when you got Jimmy, how aware were you that he was so good at hitting that clutch shot at the end of the game?
When you study him, you could study 4 spots that he seemed to, you know, do well at. You know, to think like you're going to get him in here and run those plays, that wasn't really on my mind. It was clear you could isolate him, and it's clear you could put him in some pick and rolls. And, you know, when you look at people, everybody that's ever played basketball, you know, sport, to kick a game-winning field goal, to make a game-winning shot, it doesn't happen often, even in people's long careers. And to do that twice in such a short period of time is highly unusual. And, you know, probably people aren't going to be sort of thinking, what play are we going to run if we're there again? The scouting report might be too well known.
This might be a silly thing to bring up about how you judge what the team is. We talk a lot about stats and rankings, but I think you guys are like top 6 overall in the record. I mean, holistically, is that something that you track and pay attention to, just to maybe take a higher surface level view as how the progress is going over the course of the year?
It's an interesting question you ask, because I don't feel at all that we're at that stage now of where we sit in the standings. It's like right now we have so much to grow and to give, and I don't pay attention. I think you can get tricked a little bit if that ends up your comfort zone, if you get greater peace of mind when you see where we are record-wise. And so I don't go there. It's not like I force myself not to go there. I naturally don't go there. I know what I know. And what I know is it's early days for this team. We have way more to grow and give. I told you I still don't feel as equipped as I need to be from a sideline managing a game. That's only going to happen with time. I keep throwing out "come see me after Christmas" as a sort of a timeline where I feel like, you know, substitutions and play calls and growth of defense and familiarity, more familiarity with one another has a greater chance to be discussed. And right now, that's where it sits in my eyes.
Premier didn't play the other night, and his minutes have been down a little bit this month. You've tried some different things with the backup 5 position over the last couple weeks. Where are you with that right now? Do you have a plan going forward?
I do, and it's sort of fluid judgment. You know, sometimes it's a little bit matchup, sometimes it's gut feel. The notion that, you know, Mike is able to step out and take threes, you know, and stretch the floor just kind of through volume attempts. I believe his shot, now that his mask is off, is going to come to a higher percentage. And so I've just decided to go with Mike instead of Amir, and at times I have gone with Ben instead of both of them. And, you know, Joel's backup is always on our mind, how you choose to use that 5 spot and the vacuum of minutes, which is usually, you know, 14, at times 12. And it's still a work in progress in relation to a solid plan. It's never not catching us off guard. We think about it all the time, but right now we're still studying that.
Right, with that said, how's Justin doing in his rehab? I mean, we see him over there shooting shots.
He seems to be doing well. You know, he's you look at his sort of background and you look at his body, and he can shoot. You know, it's a really interesting young man that I look forward to seeing, you know, what we actually have. In relation to what that means timeline, I don't know what that is, Keith, but I am excited to sort of get a chance to watch him more play.
What is he doing right now? I mean, what type of stuff?
Just the normal stuff, and I don't know where he's exactly at with the timeline of him returning to the court, but it's a lot of lifting stuff. It's a lot of like just, you know, studying tape, and with us from a tuition standpoint, an educational standpoint, and I think that you know, his timeline is going to be based on obviously what the medical people tell me, but I do not know when that is. Thanks, everybody.